Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? We are back for week 7 of the NPL versus the Montreal Monfernos and our good friend Sebastien, aka Sebi VGC, aka one of the guys who we really struggled against in the past. He won the last 4 matches against us, which was definitely in my head when I prepped and when we played this game or before we played this game. Definitely wanted to beat him this time, and we are packing some heat this week. Didn't upload a team builder. I'm kind of busy. I'm out of town from Thursday to Sunday, so I record this very early and like just schedule it for Monday, so I don't have to record on Monday either or something. Um, so the team I brought is a very interesting team. I really struggled finding switch-ins for some of the stuff like potentially Chandelier for Nido Queen, a reliable switch-in for Weaver, a reliable Azu check or switch-in if it's an offensive variant, and also an Aether switch-in. My defensive core really struggled facing this team, but I think I came up with a nice idea. I got a very specially defensive Reuniclus, which is also a calm mindset though. Pretty interesting because usually calm mindsets run physical bulk, but the um, the set I came up with is able to never be 2-KO'd by a specially offensive Nido Queen, never 2-KO'd by an offensive Mega Emperor, which my opponent has, and can 2-hit KO, they can OHKO Azumarill at +2 still after Rocks and the Spike, and can OHKO Weavile at +1 after Rocks or after a Spike. So that's kind of cool. We are having the Colbur Berry on the set, obviously, because Weavile is a threat and can easily pursue us, and we have to like play really careful around the Weavile, obviously, to not lose our Reuniclus before we have dealt with the Nidoqueen. Stunfisk is especially defensive variant, basically my Rocker and my check for Mega Ampharos and Chandelure. I can actually take any 2 hits besides Specs Energy Balls from Chandy, which is kind of cool, and like it would be like a pretty hard prediction for him to make, especially in the early games. You can always like come in and what's it called, like take a hit and set up my rocks or fire off an Earth Power. Fortress here is a physically defensive variant with the Rocky Helmet, functions as my Weavile switch, and I can take even a natural gift fire. I obviously don't want to come in on a natural gift fire because then you obviously can like just kill me with a knockoff on the next turn. But I really don't expect this set. I kind of feel like he will bring Bandit first because Bandit like just fucks my team up. I need like a lot of checks for Weavile, and like Weavile outspeeds my entire team besides the +1 ZX or any Scarfer obviously. So like it's a very reliable and very solid choice Bandit user versus me. Fortress has Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Gyro Ball, and the spikes because my opponent has really bad hazard removal. He has the Flygon and the Serena. Serena can't beat Fortress, and if it decides to spam Rapid Spin versus me, I can like just go for spikes and wait for him until he goes down to the Rocky Helmet, and that basically guarantees me a layer. And I didn't really see Flygon come because like he never brought it in 6 weeks, and like it doesn't match up too well versus my team unless it's a Scarfer. And Scarf Defog I can easily abuse to potentially set up substitutes or something, or get a free hit with my Superior to go to +2 or something. Um, Superior here is my check to a Choice Bandit Azu. I have to play really careful around potential, not Choice Band, potential Belly Drum Azu, that's what I meant, because +6 Aqua Jet does a fuck ton, even to like my Surf that has like 100 EVs in HP. It can like just really like it can do like up to 78%, I think, maybe 75. So if I come in twice on rocks, I'm in a very bad spot. So I have to play this Superior really carefully, and I hope I don't have to bring it in the early or mid game. I have to like really save that thing as potential check to Azu, as well as a backup check to a weakened Weavile. Because I packed the Yachi Berry, I can always take a Bandit Ice Crash even after 2 Rock Switches or something, would do like up to 65-69%. And then I can potentially kill a weakened Weavile with the Leaf Storm, which is cool. I also got the Giga Drain on that, the Dragon Pulse and the HP Dark. Like just in case, like just because I want to cover everything from Mega Ampharos to Chandelier to Bronzong, even though like obviously +2 HP Dark doesn't do too much to a Bronzong. but Bronzong can't do too much back unless he packs the Gyro Ball, and like I can always weaken Bronzong pretty early in the game with every mon on my team basically. Also, Reuniclus abused that setup fodder, so I didn't really think that would come. Manaphy has a Tailglow set with Substitute Surf and Ice Beam. You may wonder why I would not bring Grass Coverage versus a team that has Azumarill and that has Azelf. The reason is, I'm not Azelf, I don't know why I said that. And it also has a Pyukumuku with Unaware potentially, hard walls my Manaphy. The reason is, I feel like he's gonna bring Sapsipper Azumarill anyway because it really hard checks Manaphy as well as the Superior. Like his best answers to the Superior are especially defensive Chandelure, which I never see him bring because if you bring Chandelure, it has to be offensive because it really dents my team a lot. Especially defensive Bronzong, which is easily worn down by Leaf Storms, if like switches in once. Can't switch in on the next Leaf Storm plus take an HP Fire potential and HP Dark. And like Azu is his best switch into this. Even Mega Emperors, unless it's fully special defense, can't take a Leaf Storm plus a +2 Dragon Pulse, so that's kind of cool. But obviously this Manaphy can't win unless I deal with the Pyukumuku and the Azumarill. This is why I bring a very heat Charizard set this week. It's a physically defensive Impish Charizard X with enough speed for a modest Chandelure with Fire Spin, Toxic, Roost, and Substitute. This Charizard absolutely shits on Pyukumuku and the Azumarill because Pyukumuku obviously can't break a Substitute and gets Toxic. Once I Toxic the Pyukumuku, Manaphy can stall it out because he can set up a Substitute on there. I can just go for +6 behind a sub in front of a Toxic Pyukumuku and then like just win obviously. And also, like Azumarill, a physically defensive Azumarill or mixed defensive Azumarill, even though it has to check stuff like Superior and Manaphy, it also functions as a very solid check to Charizard X, especially if I get rid of a Licky Licky earlier or kill his Revenger, which he doesn't really have. Like he doesn't have a solid Revenger to Zard X. If it wants to come in on me, I can Toxic it, set up a sub on his potential Toxic, which I really expect him to have, and then go for a Fire Spin to really wear it down. If it has Rest, I can like just Toxic it again whenever I want to, can like roost up on there and potentially like bring at the right moment bring in my Reuniclus to set up potentially. So that's like not too big of a deal, I think. So I really felt like the Zard sets can like just remove the counters for Manaphy to help Manaphy win the game. So let's hop right into it. I decided to lead off with my Manaphy because I don't want to lose the matchup to Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen has the chance to always get a kill, especially if it gets like a high roll or a crit on my Reuniclus switch in, which would put me in a really bad spot. And I don't want to lose the lead matchup versus a potential Nidoqueen. I felt like I had a solid switch-ins for everything else on this team, especially like Azumarill and Pyukumuku, which like always give Fortress free hazards basically. Licky Licky isn't too big of a deal. I can potentially just sub up or like hit him with the surf to gauge the damage. Weaver like obviously can do quite some damage, but doesn't really want to switch in. And if I doesn't really want to take this, stay in to take the surf. That's what I said. And like I can always bring in the Fortress to hit him with the Rocky Helmet damage. So let's hop right into it. Looking at my opponent's team, I really expected Bandit, Weaver, as I said. Offensive Nidoqueen because it just like dents my team. Potentially Wish Passing, Licky Licky, I don't know. Pretty standard Toxic Stalling, Pyukumuku. Not sure about the Aether set. Could be Life Orb, could be Scarf, could be Specs, and like also could be a Z Crystal user or a nasty Plot Sweeper, whatever. And Azumarill I felt like was guaranteed Sapsipper because looking at his team he doesn't have a Surf switch, and if he like doesn't have the Sapsipper Azu, I can just bring in Superior and win from turn 1 on. So he hits off on the Licky Licky. I decide to use that as an opportunity to go into Fortress, I think, because like I guess he's more inclined to switch out or go for something like a Dragon Tail, which he later reveals to have, because I could potentially abuse this Licky Licky as setup for that. He could also go for a Toxic, which I think is a risky play in case I'm a Rain Dance Toxic variant on Manaphy, which definitely has some merit versus team. And I feel like he would either stay and go for something like Dragon Tail or Toxic, which Fortress easily covers because Rocky Helmet damage would be nice to wear it down. And it also covers him going into Pyukumuku or the Azumarill, which also would give me a free layer. So I decided to switch out into Fortress, as I said, and he switches out into Pyukumuku, which is good for me. I can fire off a free spike here. The more spikes I get, the easier Nidoqueen is worn down, and he can just baton pass out of me. And he brings in his Licky Licky again, which is fine. I don't want to stay in on this thing because it obviously gets fire coverage potentially, and the reason why he would bring it in is probably because of Pexy Flamethrower or Fire Punch or whatever coverage it gets. I didn't feel like going for spikes, even though I have my sturdy still, because I really want this Fortress to be able to check Weavile fairly well. And if it's a curse variant, that could be like pretty annoying for me. Like curse Licky Licky really fucks my shit up. So I decided to go into my Stunfisk here. I can fire off a Toxic if I want to, if he reveals to be a curse variant. But he shows the Flamethrower, which is cool. And now I know that he's like probably Wish Protect or Wish Heal Bell and then like Flamethrower and maybe another attack or just a standard Cleric, even though I don't think he's only Flamethrower because then Zardex just sets up on it or like just abuses it as a free way to get a wish off, to get a roost off or a substitute off. So I can set up my Roxy on this turn as my opponent makes the hard switch into Nidoqueen. I had fired off an Earth Power, that would have been really nice, but I valued Rox a lot more because he doesn't have removal on the squad. It breaks a potential Sash on Azel, and it pressures the Weavile a lot. And Weavile, as you see, is like a big problem to my team as it prevents Serp from sweeping. This turn I stay in because I know I can chew an Earth Power even if it's Modest Life Orb, and I want to get up some damage with this Nidoqueen because if he goes for Rocks, I get him down to like 20% with a high roll, maybe 25 with a mid roll, and like makes it easier revengeable for stuff like Serp or Manaphy, which would be cool. Obviously, I could go hard into my Ridiculous, but not until I had figured out this set because he could easily pack the Crunch or Dark Pulse or something, which could really fuck my shit up. So I go for the Earth Power. My opponent goes for the Earthquake here and clean knocks out my my Stunfisk. That looks like adamant damage, and like yeah, Stunfisk is gone. But looking at my opponent's team, yes, it would be nice to potentially get a discharge off on the Azumarill to revenge it, but it doesn't really do too much besides spreading Toxic. So I go into my Manaphy and will double out into my Charizard X because Azumarill and Pyukumuku still are the best switches to Manaphy. I pressure him with the Surf that he doesn't want to take because looking at my squad, like Nidoqueen really is a fantastic breaker versus Reuniclus, which could potentially be AV, which might be the reason he brought the physical set, which is very smart on his part. I didn't expect that at all, and like obviously could do well versus the Fortress in case he like packs the Flamethrower still. So I will double out into my Zard to get the free substitute off, which definitely would be nice as he switches out into his Pyukumuku. I will go for a substitute here. No big deal. I can like take any like take on anything that wants to switch in on me. Probably expects me to be like a sub DD variant or something, but I will hit this Licky Licky. It takes a lot from the hazards with a Toxic here, which is cool. Now like he probably figures out that I'm sub Toxic and Roost potentially. And he goes for the Dragon Tail, doesn't knock me out, and trap it with the Fire Spin. As he wishes up, doesn't really matter. I can just go for the Rooster because I want to be at full amount of health. But had I gone for the Fire Spin and got a crit or something, I could have knocked him out here. But fine with me. Dragon Tail breaks my sub on the second try. I can just set up another substitute here as he gets really worn down by Fire Spin and Toxic. Definitely a set that puts in the work. He wishes up, but he knows that he is trapped. I think I go for the Roost again here. No, I go for the Fire Spin to knock him out because like I didn't gain too much from roosting, especially if he like has to protect that he not that has to protect, but if he like has something that can potentially break my sub. So yeah, Licky Licky goes down. That's a big threat out of the way for my Manaphy to sweep because especially Licky Licky can easily, especially defense Licky Licky can easily take +3 Surf because I'm not even modest or anything. So yeah, that's cool. Nidoqueen comes in. I definitely will fire off a Fire Spin here. Don't lose anything by that. Even if he breaks my sub on this turn. It's fine with me. I trap him again. Breaks my sub with the Poison Jab. It's very smart to not take the recoil from the what's it called, from the life orb, and he sets up his rocks as I go for another substitute. Knowing that I'm faster, I didn't lose anything by sub besides some health, but I'm still at a range of health where I can take a banded Icicle Crash from Weaver, which is cool. And now my opponent, after setting up the rocks, is down at 21%. Here I make kinda a bad play. I probably should have roosted up because that guarantees me to come in at a solid amount of health every time I have to switch out, and it guarantees me that the Weaver can't come in and Pursuit trap me potentially. Like Bandit Pursuit on the switch, I think has a chance to knock me out. Maybe I'm wrong. Now it doesn't have a chance, but that would force me to spin. So doesn't like really help either. I could have potentially roosted up on it because Bandit Ice Crash only does 48%, but that obviously would force me to play around with flinches, and that was never the play. So I go for the fire spin here, even though I should have like roosted, because even if I roost, he gets damaged by the fire spin obviously, and I'm at a better amount of health. The reason why I fire spin is because I didn't really know the mechanics of fire spin. I wasn't sure if it's like a certain amount of turns that he is trapped, and I didn't want him to like be free to like switch out and then, or potentially like just be freed of the fire spin on this turn when I roost up, and then like be forced to take a hit with something obviously, and then like be forced to maybe hit another fire spin. So I go for a fire spin here, and I get a crit, which is huge. After that crit, he basically told me that that this game is over for him. Like there's nothing he can do. I still felt like Bandit Weaver could potentially come in if he for some could come in clutch if for some reason he's so toxic stalls my fortress, if I allow that to happen obviously, and if he's like a Whirlpool Perish Trap, Azu said, something like that. Like in my opinion, the game wasn't over, but it definitely looked pretty bleak for him here. Zard behind the substitute is like really bad. I go for the fire spinning on the Azov because I want damage and want to make sure that this thing doesn't set up on me. Knowing that he knows my set now and could potentially abuse that as fodder. I just want to like make sure that I get enough damage off, which also puts him in range for Signal Beam from the Real Class. Fire Spin does a solid amount. It's down to 54%, which is cool. I switch out in my Renal Class to take the next Psychic here, even if like goes for some weird prediction. I can chew any hit. I'm special defensive, and he drops my special defense, which is kind of unfortunate. I like at this point I thought he might be scarfed as a potential revenger for weakened Zardex or something, but I wasn't sure. And if it's like never-ending nightmare, he knocks me out from here, guaranteed. If he's just a Shadow Ball set with like expert belt, he has no chance to knock me out. So I figured I don't have the best switch-ins to this anyway. I can always come in with Mana Fee after that and knock him out, revenge kill him potentially, and like I basically have to attack here. I go for the Signal Beam here, which also covers him going Hard Weaver, and thankfully it doesn't crit me. Doesn't have the never-ending night mode, didn't go for it, and Azov goes down. At this, like now it looks cool. Weaver comes in, definitely going for the pursuit here, but in case he doesn't pursue, I can just like switch out, maybe recover up on Pyukumuku, but probably like that probably wasn't the play obviously, because like maybe I should have stayed in case he was an SD variant, which could have been really bad. But I felt like Bandit Weaver is so good versus me, so I decided it's probably Bandit, and if he's Bandit Pursuit, I can bring in potentially Mana Fee, Fortress, whatever, and get off a spin or get off a hit, whatever I want to do. So he goes for Pursuit, traps him as a switch out, so it doesn't look like an SD variant. If he wasn't like Life Orb or Expert Belt or Dark Lasso, Black Glasses, and I hadn't got this Death Drop, I could have lived this Pursuit, but as I said, I'm really sure it was Bandit, and Pursuit would have knocked me out anyway, so that's fine. Going to my Mana Fee because I want to scare him out, I want to take him as many hazards as possible. If he stays in, I'm pretty sure he's locked in Pursuit. I can like get some chip on him with the Surf. Probably won't kill him from the range he's at, but definitely would have been a 2K on. I'm pretty convinced his Shaw is locked. So I have a very free surface. Also gets chip on the Azu potentially, as well as the Pyukumuku. And Pyukumuku, I can always go into Fortress and get off a spin, which is nice. Surf does 14% to this Azu, so it's definitely a specially defensive variant. That was like really didn't do much, and he reveals leftovers, so it's cool. Like I figured when he told me that the game is over in his opinion, I figured that he was Sep Super Azu guaranteed. But had he been an offensive Azu, I could have been in trouble. But obviously I'm not, so I think I make the switch here into my fortress. Now I go for a sub to see what he wants to do. Can get some chip off on the Pikachu potentially. Go for the Ice Bear. Try to freeze him obviously because that would just speed up the process of like me winning this game, as I felt. Pikachu can recover up. I go for the Tail Glow in case he just wants to baton pass out and see if I like make a switch to waste my solid substitute. But he goes into Azumarill, and this is cool with me because that kinda like makes him take more damage, which is nice, and I can like just get some more chip. Um, I obviously get this time 34% because I'm boosted, and like I um, can either switch out because the person will go for one more serve to like see if he goes back into Pyukumuku. If he goes back into Pyukumuku, I get the chip on that thing, and Azu is dead to Hazard, which is like pretty nice for me. I'm not forced to um, go. I'm not forced to switch out yet, and like Azu is now dead to Rock, which is cool as he goes into the Pyukumuku. I think after this turn, I will decide to go hard into Fortress to get a spin off and potentially get up all layers that I have on this thing. Yeah, that's what I do. As my opponent, I think goes for the recover. Yeah, I know that this thing probably has the soak, but I just spin anyway. I don't mind if this fortress gets toxic and basically did its job. I go for my spikes again on this turn. He was hoping I have the volt switch on this thing, which I actually had at some point during prep, as I get all my layers here. But I figured that Earthquake was detrimental for not giving Nidoqueen and Chandelure free switcher. I get all my layers, which means Weavile is dead to a Rocky Helmet hit, which kinda means that I basically should keep my Fortress kinda, because then I'm guaranteed to win the game versus Weavile. But yeah, I just spam Earthquake here because my opponent decides to spam Toxic, and I didn't really want to go into anything that can potentially be Toxic. I see, yeah, I could have had the turn to go into Superior potentially as he recovered up, but good thing that I wasn't doing that because he actually was the Baton Pass weakness policy set, and if I hit him with a Leaf Storm and he goes into Weavile, um, and he goes into Weavile after getting the weakness policy drop, I would have been in a really bad spot. But now I can go into my Zard. I decide to go for Toxic here instead of a Substitute or a Roost. Reason being, if he stays in and I get Toxic off, I win with Manaphy because he can come in after Zard goes down to Toxic, and I can sub up and basically win because Azu was dead to rocks and I can Toxic stall the Pyukumuku, and Weavile obviously can't take a surf at 15%, which he would come in on. So if I hit the Toxic on Pikachu, I win. If he sacks Azu, he has to bring in Weavile, which I know I live in Icicle Crash from, so I just have to hit him with one Icicle Crash. Even if I don't do that, I can potentially bring in my Manaphy or my Surf. But like I felt like this covered every play. Even if he like stays in a Toxic, it's not a big deal. And like if I go for a sub, yes, it probably would have been a guaranteed win in case he sacks Azu. I felt like going hard Weavile was his best play here because that like covered covered me doing covered me like um going for everything besides substitute unless I go for the hard for the fire spin, which I had no reason to. I think my plays were either toxic or sub, maybe roost up, but that was kind of risky because then he could toxic me and then switch out, in which case I would have been in a bad spot. But I feel like toxic was the safest play because hitting toxic on a potential Weavile switch in is better than hitting hitting a fire spin after a potential Icicle crash flinch or anything. And like even if like now after second Azu, even if Manaphy Weavile comes in and revenges me with Ice Crash after a crit or a flinch, I can just bring in Manaphy and win the game. So that's kind of cool, I guess. So I go for Toxic here, cover all options. In my opinion, the best play I could have done. Some would consider it a choke because sub was a guaranteed win basically, but I think like I think I made the right choice here. Weaver comes in. I know I can take a Bandit Icicle Crash unless he is adamant, in which case the roll is still in my favor. So I go for the Fire Spin here, as I live the Icicle Crash and kill him with the Fire Spin. Now Pyukumuku comes in, takes all these hazards, and I can just fire off a Toxic, even if I miss the Toxic. Superior wins after that, unless I miss all my all my Leaf Storms. And now, instead of going Serp to um, win the game with the Leaf Storm potentially, I decided to go into Manaphy, just set up a substitute because differential could come in handy versus me later. So not versus me, but for me later in the season in order to make playoffs potentially. Because after like these two dumb losses last week, I like maybe I might need the differential, and like I'm not being a jerk about it, like just Toxic on this Pyukumuku, but just like the safest way for me to preserve the 2-0, and I don't think he was mad about that. So we get the win here in week 7 after 2 bad losses. Still feel like I should be 6-1 now, but obviously you can say I got lucky in this game. Don't know if like I still would have won if I don't crit the crit the fire spin, but Zard definitely was always putting in work as well as Manaphy. Like Manaphy gave Zard so many chances to roost potentially or to substitute that I feel like I still had a very solid chance to win the game. But nonetheless, obviously the hex kind of sucked for my opponent. Like kind of felt like the game was already over after that, and it kind of was, as you see. So that's week 7. I finally beat my buddy Sebastian again. GG, my friend. You played really well. Your prep was pretty interesting too. Um, Definitely didn't expect the physical Nido Queen, but definitely worked out for you. So props to that. Props for that. But we are going out with a win here. We're improving to 4-3, which is really important. Like that's a really big win that I really needed. Going to 3-4 might have already not cost me a playoff spot, but now I'm in a very solid spot again, and like I'm looking forward to going potentially 9-3, 8-4, and make the playoffs again. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and comment if you did, and yeah, catch you in the next week. See ya.